This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, RENEE Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. Have you ever wondered why just being yourself feels a little bit like walking through a minefield in life? You know, where like your joy, your truth, your boundaries, your perspective, even your own growth seem to set off these little micro explosions everywhere you go. Well, if you have wondered that, today's episode is for you because here's the thing. To the covert narcissist, nearly every part of you feels like a weapon that is aimed directly at them. They see everything about you as an attack on them. Your thoughts, your feelings, your needs, your perspectives, and so on. You see, in a relationship, you go through life seeing opportunities for honesty, love, and growth. You see opportunities for connection and repair. But they don't. They see opportunities for attack, for abandonment, for rejection, for defensiveness. And it's like they're going through life looking for reasons to be unhappy, reasons to be hurt, reasons to be defensive. So I want to break this down piece by piece today. Why your truth, your feelings, your independence, your awareness, your boundaries, your connections, your perspective, your growth, why basically everything about you is threatening to the covert narcissist. Welcome back to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we talk about the kind of relationships that make you rehearse conversations in your head 100 times, yet you still lose every discussion anyways, and then wonder if you're truly living in the twilight zone. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to lay out the map of this minefield that you are walking through, because that's exactly what life with a covert narcissist feels like. You are walking through a minefield, and there are explosive devices everywhere you turn. No matter which way you go, which way you step, you are at risk of hitting another landmine. You speak a simple, truthful statement about your day. Wham, it blows up in your face. You express your feelings honestly. Kaboom, another explosion. You set a small boundary or even show a little joy that isn't about them, and bam, it's like you've stepped on another hidden charge. These landmines surround you. You start to feel like no matter which way you turn, you're going to set off another explosion. That's why just being you feels so unsafe. You can't relax in your own skin when you're living a life like this. So let's break down those hidden triggers one by one so that we can understand what's really going on here. I want to start with the foundation of all of it, which is your truth, like your reality. You see, truth to a covert narcissist is like sunlight to a vampire. It burns them. In healthy relationships, speaking your truth might sting, okay? Speaking your reality might sting a little bit, but it opens the door to repair. Let's say, you say to your partner, "Hey, that hurt me." And your partner might not like hearing that, okay? Nobody likes hearing that they've hurt someone they care about, but they'll sit with it. They will show up for you and participate in life together to work towards resolution and connection. But a covert narcissist can't do this. Even the smallest truth threatens the carefully curated image that they've built. You risk cracking their good guy image or good girl image, their long suffering spouse mask. I had one client say to me, "I told my husband, I feel dismissed when you walk away while I'm talking." It was a simple statement. It was true, and I was trying to find a gentle way to say it. And I was looking for a moment of just recognition, validation, repair, connection. And this could have been that moment. A kind response that would say, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I was caught up in my own thoughts. Will you tell me again what you were saying?" That would have been repair. That would have opened the door for things to be, repaired and reconnected. And it would have been okay. But his response? "You're so dramatic. I was listening to you. You always make me to be the bad guy." And walked away. No further acknowledgement, no connection, and never actually hearing what she was saying. You see, for him, her honesty wasn't a request for connection. No, it was an accusation. And that's how he treated it, like it was a courtroom accusation. Now, once you dare to begin speaking your truth to a covert narcissist, the next thing that you have to contend with is your emotional reality. To the covert narcissist, your feelings are just as threatening as your words. Your emotions, such as sadness, anger, or joy, they shine a spotlight on their emptiness because your feelings aren't about you. Your feelings are about them. Okay? In healthy relationships, let's go back to that again, feelings build intimacy. In a relationship, your sadness says, "Notice me, hold me, care about me." Your anger says, "Respect me, listen to me." Your joy says, "Celebrate with me." But covert narcissists can't handle these things. Remember, they see everything about you as a threat to them. So your sadness that's saying, "Hey, notice me, hold me, sit with me." No, your sadness means that you are now going to get the attention instead of them. And that's a threat. Your anger, where you're just saying, "Hey, just respect me, listen to me." No, your anger means that you are challenging their authority and refusing to accept their version of events. Again, another threat to them. And your joy that says, "Celebrate with me," your joy might be the most threatening of all because it shows them that you can be fulfilled without them at the center of your attention. They cannot handle you being happy about anything that has nothing to do with them. Again, another threat to them. So what happens? They twist your sadness into "you are too needy." They flip your anger into "you are being disrespectful." And they mock your joy as over the top or childish. You see, to them, your feelings are not signals of connection or opportunities of connection. They don't see it as you trying to share your life with them. No, these are reminders of what they cannot control, of what they cannot provide, and it's just another excuse for them to be defensive, angry, the victim. So instead of empathy, you get criticism, mockery, dismissiveness. You might even get anger and lashing out, or a barrage of the victim mode that they play all too well. It's not about you being too much. It's about them being too hollow, too empty, too fragile. It's like handing them a Hallmark card that says, "I love you," but what they read is, "This is a trap and you're about to lose." They read a reason to be offended. Now, if your feelings rattle them, your independence shakes them to the core. Because when you start building a life that is not fully dependent on them, every step you take toward freedom feels like a step away from them. They don't celebrate your journey towards autonomy, your journey towards being authentically you. What they do is defend themselves against you stepping away from them. Maybe you want to take a night class. Maybe you got a job and started making money. Maybe you're excited about a new friendship. To the covert narcissist, these things scream one thing: you could leave me. You don't need me. Independence means that you don't need them for your sense of worth. You shouldn't need anyone for your sense of worth. Your sense of worth should come from inside of you. But they don't want that. That thought terrifies them. They want to be the sole center of all of your attention, all of your energy, and even of your own self-identity. So they sabotage things. They guilt trip you about your time away. Well, if you actually cared about this relationship, you wouldn't need to be out taking that class at night. They forget to support your work goals. Oh, was that today? I must have gotten the date wrong again. You should have reminded me. Or they plant seeds of doubt about that new friendship. Are you sure that friend is good for you? Honestly, I don't think she really likes you. I think she just uses you when it's convenient. Every step towards your own independence and your own autonomy feels like a step away from them, and so they attack it. Again, these are the threats. This is how your life and the parts of life that you want to embrace are a threat to them. And in their world, that must be stopped. Over time, all of this leads to your own awareness. This is when you start to connect the dots. That awareness starts to break through the fog. And this is a huge danger to them. The real crack in their armor shows up when you begin to see things clearly. You see, awareness is the moment that you realize what's going on here. And that is terrifying to them. Awareness is a turning point for you. The moment that you start spotting the gaslighting, you notice the contradictions, you start being able to hear the circular conversations, and you start seeing the circular nature of it. Instead of being in reactive mode or defensive mode or fight or flight response, you start actually observing what's going on here, and you start connecting the dots and putting together the manipulation and the abusiveness of it. Well, now control is really slipping. And what happens when control slips with a covert narcissist? They escalate. More chaos, more confusion, more empty promises, more circular conversations, more emotional smoke bombs that distract you. They turn the heat up a little bit. It's like turning the light on in a roach-infested kitchen. It's like you walked in and flipped the light on. You had no idea what was there until the light brought it out into the open. Well, the roaches, they scatter chaotically trying to hide, but they're still there. And the difference is you can see it now. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once awareness takes root, boundaries follow. Because when you see what's happening, you begin to say no. And nothing rattles a covert narcissist quite like the word no. You see, boundaries might be the biggest battlefield. It might be the place where the most direct confrontations happen. To you, a boundary is self-care. I don't want to talk about this right now. Or I need some space. Or it doesn't feel good to me to be yelled at, so let's talk about this when we're calmer. To you, this is self-care. This is about creating space for your emotions to be safe and cared for, and for you to take some mental space for you. But to them, it's rebellion. To him, they hear no as being about them, not about your needs, okay? You say no so that you can have some space for healing. That's about you. But they hear no as a rejection of them. The rejection feels like abandonment, and they can't handle this.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
So they respond with guilt trips, silent treatment, anger, intimidation, control, anything to put you back in your place. Now, of course, boundaries don't exist in isolation. What happens as you start setting boundaries is you start reaching out for support. The moment you reach out to others, to friends, to family, to a coach or a therapist, you bring in outside voices that could expose the truth. And that's when your connections now become their battleground. Now, I do want to take a minute here and say, though, that your connections were already a battleground before this point. Okay, your relationships outside of them are dangerous in their eyes. And this is clear even early on in the relationship. You see, at the first, it's about attention. Every moment you spend with a friend or on the phone with a sibling or enjoying time with a family is time that you're not focused on them. So at first, the threat is about your attention. They want to be the center of your world. Even something as small as laughing at a friend's joke or lingering on the phone too long can spark irritation, sulking, the silent treatment, coldness, or even some outright anger. In their mind, your connections mean that they're losing ground in your attention and loyalty. Now, let's go back to what we were talking about. As your awareness grows, you start actually connecting with these friends in a different way or family members in a different way. And that threat becomes much bigger. Because when you share your story with a friend, a family member, or a coach or therapist, you risk exposing them. And that exposure, that's their greatest fear. So they work to undermine these connections from day one when it really kind of started as attention. They wanted your attention, but now it becomes they're afraid that you will open up with others. So now they're going to undermine this. They're going to sabotage this. They may whisper doubts about you to others, which undermines your credibility. They plant seeds like, she's been so stressed lately. I don't know if she's really seeing things clearly. I'm really concerned about her. Or they may take the other side of this and they may criticize your friends and family to you behind closed doors, suggesting that, those people don't really care about you. This is their way of interfering with your relationships with others. They may even isolate you altogether, making it hard to maintain relationships outside of them. They might move you to another city where, I got to go get this job. And really it's about isolating you. Or you may pay such a high price for trying to visit with friends and family that you quit doing it because you can't handle the price you have to pay, with them of their sulking or their anger and all the reactions they have. They might even sabotage your evening at a family event by, "Oh, I forgot that was tonight. I can't go tonight. And of course, you can't go without me. So we're just going to have to cancel." All of these different ways that they start undermining your relationships with others. Take a look at that because a lot of us, it's going on in our world. But here are some truths that you need to hold on to. Healthy relationships are not threatened by your outside relationships. Healthy marriages and healthy relationships, they're not threatened by you having, a girls' weekend or a guys' weekend to go fishing. They're not threatened by you spending time with your sibling or your parents or your adult children. Okay, healthy relationships aren't threatened by this. In fact, they encourage this because they recognize that it's a valuable part of life. But here's another truth. The more support you have, the less control the covert narcissist has. And remember, control is one of their ultimate goals. So this imbalance, this control that they're losing because you have support outside of them, it terrifies them. It's like a magician panicking when the audience notices that the card was up his sleeve the whole time. The trick all of a sudden doesn't work anymore. Okay, there's support that you are getting from outside of them all of a sudden interrupts their show. Now let's talk about the threat of your perspective. Because when you start trusting your own version of events more than theirs, everything shifts. To them, that's a huge threat. Covert narcissists depend on controlling the narrative. They work tirelessly to convince you that their version of events is the truth, that their pain is bigger than yours, that their feelings matter more than yours, that, or anyone else's for that matter, that their thoughts and their perspectives are the ones that are the truth. Their reality is the only one that counts. So when you begin to trust your own perspective, it does happen when you finally start to realize, again, awareness has gotten up, you've found some support, and you start trusting your own perspective. When you start to believe your own memories, your feelings, your version of the story, their control really begins to crumble at this point. To them, like everything else, your perspective is rebellion. It means that they can no longer gaslight you into doubting yourself. One of their favorite pastimes. It means they can no longer rewrite the past to make themselves the hero and you the villain. Your perspective interrupts this, it dismantles their illusion. Because if you hold firmly to your reality, then their story doesn't stand. And if their story doesn't stand, neither does the image that they work so hard to protect. That's why they try so hard to warp your perspective through, blame shifting, rewriting events, or mocking your overreactions. They need you to see the world through their lens. But here's the truth. Your perspective is not a threat. It's clarity. It's your reality. To them, it feels dangerous, but to you, it brings healing. It brings freedom from the mental anguish that you've been living under. When you reclaim your perspective, you stop living under theirs. It's like stepping out of the distorted funhouse mirror maze. If you've ever been in one of those mirror mazes where everything looks all warped, in this mirror you look, like you're 10 feet tall, and in this mirror you look like you're 10 feet wide, and you've got all these different, versions of reality that are showing up in these mirrors, all these different reflections. But all of a sudden you step outside of this maze and you see yourself in the right shape. Like if they have a mirror, I don't know if you've ever been to one of these, but they have a mirror at the very end and you're expecting, another warped version, but it's not. It's an actual mirror. And now you see your right shape, the right size, the right reflection. The world doesn't look so warped anymore. Well, that's what happens when you start to see all of this and the awareness and you break through the fog. And now you can stand on your perspective and you start seeing your reality. That's when you begin to heal. And finally comes the ultimate threat, your growth. Because when you learn, heal, and stand taller, you're no longer contained by their small box. Growth means you're no longer staying stuck. And that is their deepest fear. See, when you heal, when you learn, when you strengthen yourself, you expand beyond the limits that they have been setting for you. Every new boundary, every act of courage, every piece of knowledge, every step of autonomy takes you further away from their control, their reach. So they try to sabotage you. They tear you down, make you doubt yourself, remind you of your past mistakes, pull you back into old cycles. They even make promises of change just to keep you off balanced and confused. But your growth is like grass breaking through concrete. It's a tough journey, but with a lot of work, it will find its way through. It's unstoppable. If you ever tried to keep grass from growing through a crack in the concrete, good luck with that. It's going to get through. So piece by piece, you begin to see the pattern. What feels like health to you is danger to them, but your truth matters. Your feelings matter, your perspective, your independence, your awareness, your boundaries, your connections, your growth. Each one is a piece of your authentic self. In a healthy relationship that's built on trust, these pieces are celebrated. Each step is a step towards your authentic self, and it is embraced in a healthy relationship. In fact, it's encouraged and it's reciprocal. But the covert narcissists, no. They see your authentic self as a personal attack on them. So if you're listening today, let this be your reminder. You are not too much. You are not wrong for feeling the way you feel, for growing, for saying no, for building a life that's yours. Those are the very things that you are entitled to. Your authentic self. You get to do that. You get to grow in life. You get to emotionally mature. You get to learn. And no one has a right to take that away from you. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we break apart the insidious nature of these incredibly destructive and infinitely frustrating individuals. If you are caught up in this crazy-making relationship and drowning in self-doubt, guilt, or rumination, please reach out to me anytime. I offer individualized live coaching in both group and individual settings. We can find the right program for you. You do not need to go through this alone. You can find all of that information on my website at covertnarcissism.com. You can also reach out to me by email at RENEE, RENEE, at covertnarcissism.com. I do look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Remember, I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. I am a coach, and you are a survivor. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those that she has worked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or support a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and the information provided. Thank you.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.